listen directly to an icon of humanity, Professor Muhammad Yunus.
Hello, thank you very much. Thank you, Jose. Good to be with you and all your young friends all over the world. And I'm very, very happy that you invited me in to talk to these young people. I feel delighted to get this opportunity. And as you have mentioned, our friendship goes way back. And when you started replicating Grameen program in East Timor, Timor-Leste, and that brought me to Timor-Leste. And that made the friendship, which lasted ever since, and get closer and closer. We have been together in many, many campaigns, and we still are. And now you mentioned the vaccine campaign. This is a shame that world leaders have not paid attention to it. And today, this amazing situation has been created because of that, where the billions of people are deprived from vaccines. Well, only lucky 10 countries have all the vaccines they could get, and multiple numbers of them. And some just wasted, couldn't use it because time expired. And they had to introduce the third dose. More people in 10 countries at the third dose than the first dose in all the poor countries in the world together. So that's what the COVID-19 situation and the vaccine situation. And our appeal, together with Jose, our appeal is to make vaccine as a patent-free good, that intellectual property rights should not apply in case of vaccine, because it's a life-saving device. It's a life-saving medicine that we need to take, a vaccine. And if you try to put the patent right creates a wall of profit. So rich pharmaceutical companies, and they are all rich, they build this firewall with the profit, so that the knowledge remains inside that firewall. Nobody could enter. So it's a very ugly scenario, if you can imagine. People are dying outside the wall because they have no access to vaccine, and they will continue to die, but they will not open the gate of this wall to let the knowledge come over, to be protecting all those millions and millions of people around the world. It's not about money to be given away. It's simply knowledge to be shared. The knowledge is there. World today has all the knowledge to protect people from COVID-19. But that knowledge is monopolized by vaccine companies, pharmaceutical companies, and they build heavy walls of profit making. And that's what Jose was mentioning, all the billions of dollars they're making each day. Because of that, this is not available. We are not saying that give vaccine free or something like that, just allowing the knowledge to be used. Already many companies probably have the knowledge, but because of the intellectual property right, they cannot use it. Because if they use it, they'll be sued and billions of dollars have to be paid in compensation and all that. So this is the strange life that we lead on this world. How selfish human beings can get, how self-centric human beings can get. This is a good example of that, how it turns out. So we are talking about now creating social business pharmaceutical companies. Social business, as we have practiced, as we have introduced, is a new kind of business. Business to solve problems rather than make money. Because this world is built on one principle of economics. If you are in economics, if you are in business, you have to maximize profit. That's the goal for you. We challenge that. I said, who said that human being has to be always focusing on maximizing profit? They show that economics is based on that. I said, this is based on the wrong thing. Economics is based on self-interest. Human beings are defined as someone who is driven by self-interest, meaning the selfish interest. You want to pursue selfish interest. All you see is yourself, nothing else. So you blind yourself out to the rest of the world. You just pay attention to yourself. That's the profit maximization. So the world has been built, the economic world has been built on the basic principle of profit maximization. And we keep challenging that this is the wrong interpretation of human being. Human beings are not only driven by self-interest. Human beings are also driven by collective interest. The economics doesn't have collective interest. I said, that's what it went wrong. It just gave away something which is so precious to human beings. We are not only interested in taking care of ourselves, we're also interested in taking care of everybody else. And that's where the vaccine comes, that's where water comes, that's where the global warming comes. Economics cannot handle that because economics says, no, it's a selfish interest. You'll be driven by. That's why economics tell us to give subsidy to fossil fuel industry. So trillions of dollars are given away in fossil fuel. And Jose was mentioning about COP26. What a terrible thing COP26 has done. We are looking for very concrete, tough decisions to save this planet. The planet doesn't have much time left. We are on the verge of extinction right now. And we have been screaming to tell the world that if the scientists are telling us what we have, they couldn't care less. Leaders couldn't care less. IPCC report, which is the report of all the top scientists of the world, says we have only 10 years left, just 10 years. 10 years left from now on to reach 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature of the planet. 10 years. And we are saying in Paris Agreement that we'll keep the global warming 2 degrees Celsius or less. And then on, which is way back, then on the world has said that we have to keep the global warming less than 1.5 degrees at the end of the century. And IPCC, all the scientists saying, the way we have been proceeding, we have only 10 years left before we get to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So by 2030 or 2031, will be 1.5 degrees Celsius. So rest is just non-existence. It's a kind of people don't exist on this planet. So human being has become the most endangered species on this planet. We have been worrying about many other species that they are both endangered species. Today is the human being who is the most endangered species. We don't have much time left. So we have to work very hard. That's where the young people come. That's why I'm so excited to talk to you. Because you have to take the responsibility to make sure the world goes in the right direction. We make the tough decision. We are not driven by only our own selfish interest. We are also driven by the interest of the planet itself, collective interest, everybody's interest. And people challenge me, saying that, this is not happening, this is not possible. People are interested in their own interest, nothing else. And why should anybody do anything for anybody else? What is there for them? There's no incentive in helping other people because there's no profit in it. There's no money in it. So money is the thing which makes things happen to the individual human being. So listening to it many times over, I try to explain. I now give the exact explanation. I said, look, making money may be happiness. Making money may be happiness. But making other people happy is a super happiness. So it's a much more attractive than just being happy. It's a super happiness. Because once we see that we can solve the problem of the world, we get very happy. That's our attraction. That's what we want to do. And that's what young people will be willing to do that. And I'm telling that the young people are ready. They have the technology. They have the creativity. They have the stamina and the commitment to save this planet. Otherwise, they don't have a future. It is made very clear. If we cross 1.5 degrees Celsius, whenever, after that, we enter the red zone, meaning its world will be dangerous for human being to live. It becomes more dangerous each day. and it's a irreversible process. You cannot come back out of it. Today we can come back. Still, we have time to reduce from 1.5 degrees Celsius to 1.4, 1.3. It's possible. And 1.5 is also very hot. It's not something very pleasant. Already, right now, we are at 1.1 degrees Celsius. And it's already making so much trouble, and particularly in low-lying areas and the island countries and so on, like the country Timor-Leste, will be extremely difficult to survive because of, in Bangladesh, it's extremely difficult to survive because of extreme weather. It's already showing up at 1.1 degrees Celsius. So many of the scientists are saying it's not 1.5 degrees Celsius that we'll be heading for. We'll be heading for 0 degrees Celsius, not 1.5. 1.5 is too much. What is 0 degrees Celsius? 0 degrees Celsius is the atmosphere that we had 100 years back, before the Industrial Revolution. Whole trouble began with the Industrial Revolution. So we have to go back to the situation of pollution to the 100 years back. And then world will be safe. That is the safest weather condition, living condition for human beings to survive. So don't even compromise for 1.5 degrees. Today you want to protect yourself to 1.5 degree, but you have to reverse the gear to go back to 0 degrees Celsius. That's the aim. So we have been talking about this many, many times over, and say the young people are the one to protect us because it's their world they have to protect. They have to make the determination. Leaders will not come to that because they're busy taking care of themselves and taking care of their buddies and the businesses, big buddies, big businesses, and so on. So that's their direction. They will never touch. One of the campaign before the COP26 was to stop digging up all the fossil fuel from the underground. All fossil fuels should be left alone at the underground. They should not be taken out. And that's where it's the safest thing. The moment it comes out, it becomes poison for us, the human being. Look, who cares? Big countries, big companies, big countries are giving trillions of dollars as subsidies, free money, so that you can make more business to pollute the world, because it's the interest of the big companies to have this more fossil fuel coming up. They have not said anything. There was a tremendous amount of uproar to make fossil fuel disappear on this planet. We said, leave it alone under the ground. This is the common appeal we made, common demand we made it along with Jose and many other friends of ours to make sure we leave the fossil fuel underground, coal, oil, and other gas and so on. So leave it alone and design our life the way we were before the coal and everything came to the planet, dug up from the underground the planet. That's where we should be. We adjust ourselves in that way. But ultimate decision, COP26 did, they will be phased out. Oh no, not phased out, phased down, meaning that we will slow down, not a stop, not zero, just phased down. The phase down can mean anything. It doesn't, it says nothing really. So this is where we are right now. And that's why we are campaigning for creating a world of 3 zeros. And that's a campaign we continue to do. And that's why we try to see world can be saved by young people to heading for a world of 3 zeros. What are the 3 zeros? Zero net carbon emission. That's the danger part. The global warming is happening because of the carbon emission. So we want to bring the world to zero carbon emission. And that's the world we want to see happening in our lifetime, in your lifetime, to make it happen. And you have to make a harsh decision for that. Second zero is zero wealth concentration. All the wealth of the world is concentrated in few hands. No matter what we do, all the big things we say, our country is developing, we're improving our life, but the wealth of the world is in the hands of few people that you can count on your fingers. 1% of the population of the world owns 99% of the wealth of the entire world. 1% owning 99% of it. So what does the 99% people got? Nothing. Just 1% of the wealth. And that's what we are screaming about. What is this? And it is getting worse every day. Meaning, today we are saying 1% and 99%. Tomorrow we'll say less than 1% of people is owning more than 99% wealth. It will get worse still. Continue to do that. That's the kind of economic machine we built. So we have to reverse that machine. So we said we have to redesign the entire economic machine so that we can create a new world. A world where people and the planet, people and the profit should live together. They should not be separated out from each other. So that's the kind of world. It can be done. This is what our history says, or the thing that we have done in our work about how the financing has to be done, how to redesign the concepts that economists have done. So all the wrong things economists have put in our head has to be brought out, throw out, create new concepts, and do the machine design completely new. Third zero is zero unemployment. By unleashing the entrepreneurship in all of us, all young people can become entrepreneurs. But all the education system is telling you, you have to finish your school, get a good degree so that you get a good job. As if job is my life. Job is not life. Job is the end of life. Because job is driven by instructions. It's a kind of a slavery. Who wants a slavery in this world? We want to be independent person. Human beings are born as entrepreneurs. So we have to have a new education system telling you that you are entrepreneurs. Come up with ideas, do things, and the finance will be waiting for you so that you can use your ideas into translate into businesses that you want to run. You don't have to work for somebody else. You can be your own business and run your business. So that's the kind of thing, because world otherwise is becoming a place where artificial intelligence will come, make us everybody unemployed anyway. So why go that path? Be an entrepreneur and create your own world. So we want to create that world of 3 zeros. And in order to do that, last point, and I'll stop here. Last point is I'm inviting all young people to form 3-0 clubs. 3-0 clubs. 5 young people can get together and form a club. You can Google it, 3-0 club, and you'll see, you can enter it. You can register yourself as a club and get connected with other clubs. Each club can get connected with other clubs so that all are committed, all make a commitment that all we do is to think about have to create a 3-0 club. 3-0 world. That's the direction we have to move. Otherwise, we have no escape the way world is moving. So we have to protect this planet. It's our planet, so that we can hand over this planet to our next generation as a safer planet, not a planet which will be destroyed by our own action. Self-destructive planet. We don't want that. We want to create a very safe and healthy planet to hand over to our next generation. Thank you very much. I'll stop here.
Thank you so much, Professor Muhammad Yunus. It was very enlightening, and I took my notes. I will share after, because I saw a lot of chatting. The delegates are very exciting, and they are searching and talking about the 3 zeros campaign. I have some questions from the delegations. The first one is from Ainalem Oldagari from the Ethiopian delegation. It says, when in some countries conflict or war occurs, why do other developing and underdeveloped countries want to destroy the country instead of agreeing towards a solution? For instance, I could mention my country, Ethiopia, currently as widely disseminated by the media in a state of war derived by political motivated grievances. So the question, just to recall the beginning, is why in some countries where occurs war and conflicts, the other countries, the international community, instead of agreeing towards a solution, it seems that they complicate the issue even further.
Well, one answer that I can give, which I was trying to explain, our education has trained us, all of us, all over the world, that we human beings are selfish beings, and we believe in it. We started because that's what they drilled into our head, and we started believing in it. So we're selfish people. So I should be helping. As a selfish person, I'll be just helping myself. I don't care what happens. So the governments behave the same way. They always help themselves, not the other countries. If they want to make a good statement to kind of express some sympathy and so on, this is on paper. On reality, they're always trying to create their own self-interest. Self-interest in that case is a self-interest of the country, not the interest of the people who are suffering. Like Refugees, for example, Bangladesh has 1 million refugees, Rohingya refugees, just thrown out from Myanmar and staying in our villages, in our place. We are already tightly packed country. But who cares? Because they are okay. You feed them, you keep them, and even give you some support so that you can feed them and so on. That's about it. No question of returning them to create conditions that they can go back home. They are their citizens. They were in politics, they were ministers, everything for years. Now suddenly they said, you don't belong to us. Push them out. So this is the kind of thing. I'm sorry for Ethiopia. I feel extremely sorry. We have gone through our experience in Bangladesh also. Many countries are suffering right now in a desperate situation. We have very ugly cases around the world. So that selfishness has to be overcome, that we have to tell ourselves, we design our system, we believe human beings are driven partly by self-interest, but mostly by collective interest. We want a peaceful world. We want to solve the problem of poverty, solve the problem of global warming. Today, we don't pay attention. We have a big conference of global warming to stop it, and then kind of after days of talk, end up with nothing. So that's the kind of world, because we are all interested, and we keep on subsidizing the fossil fuel, which is going to kill us. We know it because self-interest of the businesses, and that what is the interest of the businesses is also interest of the government. So they pour in money, free money. It's not lending money, just pouring in money so that you can dig more. So this is the kind of situation. So sorry for Ethiopia. I hope someday some people will help you.
Thank you so much for the answer. And I have the next question is from the India delegation, from Leah Mari Mashido. It says, we often see that there is always a continued inaction and silence despite numerous plans and meetings to tackle a worldwide problem like the climate change that affects people globally. Why is it so? Does that mean all of the countries are irresponsible and care less for the people? What are the reasons that prevent them from tackling grave issues?
Well, we want our pharmaceutical companies want to have the money. So, and the 10 countries have more dosages of vaccines than the rest of the poor countries in the world, in the third dose. So that's the kind of situation we have created. If all those pharmaceutical companies work day and night in production, still they cannot produce enough vaccines to vaccinate everybody. But still they will not share the intellectual property right. If you allow that intellectual property right to go out, then everybody can produce it. It's no big deal. Bangladesh can produce it. India can massively produce it. South Africa, many countries in Africa can produce it. Latin America has enormous capacity to produce it. So that there's enough vaccines available. Today, no matter what you do, it's not available. It cannot be done. And whatever is produced, 80% of it is taken out by those fortunate dozen countries. That's all. Continue to do that. So this is a situation that as long as you remain selfish, as long as you remain addicted to maximum profit, that's the point. Addiction to the maximization of profit. That's the key of the entire financial economic system. You have to get rid of that. So we have to create a new kind of concepts in which we are trying to do what we call social business. Social business is a business to solve collective problems. The profit maximization business is to serve oneself, the investor, the owner. Collective interest is served by social business. There, investor doesn't want to make money outright because it is in you. I decided not to do that. And I create a business not to make money, but to solve problems. And we call it social business. And we have done many social business in Bangladesh. Now many social businesses are created in other countries, in Japan, in USA, in France, in Germany, and so on. We have big corporates are encouraged to create social businesses. We have joint venture social businesses and so on. So that is something, and many universities have social business centers. We have now 97 universities in the world which have social business centers, teaching what is social business, why young people should think about becoming entrepreneurs rather than job seekers. We say we have to teach young people that we are not job seekers, we are job creators. We are entrepreneurs. We design things, and we are free people. We are not subordinate to anybody. We are not slave. We are not mercenaries to collect money for you and hand it over to you. That's not what we are going to do. That's not our life. Our life is to dedicate ourselves to unleash our creative energy to solve the problem of the world. That's what the human life is all about. If satisfaction that I'm useful to the world. I'm not something just useful to myself. That's the thing that we have to come up.
We have to switch the mindset of the world. And the last question we have is from the Spain delegation, from Jose Juan Timmermans. It says, how should a young leader engage his changes in favor of sustainability in a country that applies public policies that do not favor the community and that is undergoing several changes?
That's what I was trying to explain. The young people is the future. Young people are the pilots of this spaceship called planet. This Earth is a spaceship, actually. It's floating in space. And young people has to take the role of the pilots of this ship, because this ship right now doesn't have a pilot. It's just drifting in the space, and it doesn't have navigators. The ship doesn't have a flight plan. It doesn't know where it's going. So the young people are the one who volunteer themselves to become the pilot of this spaceship and become the navigators and have prepared the flight plans. That's your responsibility. Define your flight plan, meaning where you want to take this spaceship to, because it's going to crash right now. This is the direction we are going. It's not very far. It's in a few years, you'll have a big crash. So unless you take over the responsibility, you don't have a planet left. You can only talk about it, but it will not be here. This is the scientific result. It's not something that somebody cooked up. So this is not a science fiction that's going to crash. It's a really crash. So you have to become the navigators, flight plan. So start creating the flight plan. I say, if you are looking for a destination where you want to take, I said, I give you a destination, but you can create your own. Just as an example, I'll give you the destination. Destination is to create this world as a 3-0 world. That's the destination. A world with zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration, and zero unemployment by unleashing the creativity of the entrepreneurship. That's it. So you start working and you take the tiny little baby steps now, and it will take you the 1,000 miles journey in seconds, because that's what it is. Don't think, oh, I'm so small, what can I do? But together, you are the force. You are the pilots. Don't consider yourself as passengers in this planet. I get a job, and I get good increments, and I get a promotion, and then I have a very nice retirement package, and my life is done. That's a passenger. Would you like to be a passenger, or do you want to to be a pilot? And if you're a passenger, if it crashes, you can't blame anybody, because you didn't take over the responsibility of taking it. You could take this planet to the direction you want, but you didn't. So that's why we're saying create your 3-0 clubs. Talk about it. Give the leadership. Train yourself that I'm going to take the leadership and make baby steps, tiny little things. Make up my mind. We are the people on this planet. If we make up our mind, that's where the planet will go. And we can create the 3-0 club, the 3-0 world. Nothing is impossible for human being. Always remember that. Nothing is impossible for human being. All it needs to make up your mind. If you make up your mind, it will happen.
We have to take action. Thank you so much, Professor Muhammad Yunus. And I will call out my pilot, because I'm not navigating in this spaceship alone. And Moses, what you felt about this inspiring moment, and with a lot of call to actions, because we need it. The world needs it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joanna, and thank you so much, Professor Yunus. It's an absolute pleasure to listen to, the inspiration that you gave. And I was taking notes, and I'll go through some of the key points that you brought in the discussion today. The first thing that I especially liked, which relates to the philosophy of Ubuntu in itself, is that you came and you shared on the, this worldview, which is incorrect, that people are driven by self-interest, that, what really makes us happy and satisfied is what we do towards the collective good. You also showed that this is intrinsic to us and it's part of the actual human nature of we ourselves, and not necessarily what we've been taught to believe. You went through elaborately through what is taught in economics and all other fields, which is not necessarily true. You also came and brought, the issues around the critical, why this is a very critical moment, especially in the context of the climate change, where we have less than 10 years, if I can put it, to put our act together because of the catastrophe, that lies ahead. And the most important message that I got, Professor, as you were deliberating, is that you spoke on the role of young people articulately. You said that it is we as young people must take a leading role. We should volunteer ourselves as the pilot. And you indicated 3 things that we have as assets. You said there's the technology which is available, the creativity of the young people. You spoke about the stamina that we have as young people that we can channel to make this transition that we need towards a sustainable future. One of the things which you said, Professor Yunus, which caught my attention was you spoke of entrepreneurship, how a job is not life. And you also gave, I was reflecting when you talked about artificial intelligence and what are these implications if we don't develop, the entrepreneurial acumen that we require as young people. And to top it off, as I conclude, you also spoke of the 3 zeros. Just to say, as I was doing a research, I think you spoke at one of the, it should have been the African version of the Ubuntu. I liked, the book, the 3 zeros, and you also articulated it on it today. 3 zeros, 0 poverty, 0 unemployment, and 0 carbon emissions. And also the idea of the social business, which does not focus on profit maximization, but also focuses on solving social problems. And I believe this aptly fits into the context of today's conversation that we had in how we can solve these 2 big problems, poverty and inequality. So thank you so much, Professor Yunus, for your inspiration and for being with us today. And I saw in the chats, a lot of engagements, and also the call that you gave for the opportunity for the 3-0 clubs, which I believe is also aligned to the Ubuntu, this community that we have. So thank you so much, Professor, and looking forward to continue hearing from you and the work that you are doing, uplifting people from poverty. Thank you.